This is IGN. Xbox hardware revenue has been dropping for 2 years straight. Welcome to your IGN Daily Update. But first, James Gunn has defended the brave and the bold screenwriter Christina Hodson amid fan concern following news she'll write the DC Universe's Batman movie. Last week, The Hollywood Reporter confirmed that Christina Hodson was writing The Brave and the Bold, which will be the first Batman movie in James Gunn and Peter Safran's rebooted DC universe. Hodson is best known for writing 2018's Transformers spin-off Bumblebee, 2020 DCEU movie Birds of Prey, and 2023's ill-fated The Flash. She also wrote the infamous Batgirl movie Warner Bros. Canceled after it was ready for release. The backlash has a number of components to it, one of which is The Flash itself. 2023 superhero movie The Flash, starring Ezra Miller, was a critical and commercial flop, pulling in just $271 million worldwide during its theatrical run. Both it and the entire DCEU are now defunct. Gunn responded to one person on social media who said Hodson was getting, quote, unjust hatred, suggesting the Flash fans saw in theaters wasn't the Flash Hodson outlined in her screenplay. Gunn said, I will only say anyone maligning Christina Hodson's screenwriting skills has almost certainly never read an actual screenplay by Christina Hodson. She's one of the writers who was with us early in the DCU planning stages. Hodson said, I don't think you can judge my writing based on films others directed, as massive liberties are sometimes taken. Last week, Gunn suggested fans won't get an update on The Brave and the Bold until after the Batman 2 comes out, so we're probably looking at 2028 at the earliest for news. I'm dependent on when there's an actionable script ready, so there is no way of me guessing this, he said. Also, frankly, we're well into Batman 2, and I wouldn't want to cloud the Batsphere until after that. Xbox has been having a hard time selling consoles lately, and it didn't get any better over the 2025 holiday quarter. Microsoft has just reported its Q2 2026 earnings, including the news that hardware sales were down 32% year over year after quarter upon quarter upon quarter of hardware declines. Though we don't have actual numbers to tell how much revenue is being lost out here, we can get a sense of how grim this is for the hardware by looking at past quarters. Last quarter, Q1 of 2026, hardware declined 29% year over year. The quarter before that, Q4 of 2025, hardware was down 22%. The quarter before that, down 6%. Before that, down 29%. And before that, 29% in Q1 of 2025, which was July through September of 2024. Going back even further through Microsoft's earnings reports, the prior year quarter saw declines of 42%, in Q4 of 2024, and 31% in Q3. In fact, you have to go all the way back to Q2 of 2024, which was October through December of 2023, to find the last time Xbox's hardware revenue was better during that period than it was the year before. It was up a whopping 3% over the holiday quarter. And yes, it was down 7% the quarter before that, 13% before that, down 30% before that, down 13% before that, and finally up 13% year over year in Q1 of 2023, or July through September of 2022, at which point the numbers start finally showing consistent improvement year over year, largely due to proximity to the launch of the Series X and S. Now look, it's extremely normal for a 6-year-old console to not be selling as well as it was in the first few years after launch. That's to be expected. Early adopters tend to buy up consoles in large quantities at launch. Distributors run out of stock, more is produced. People continue to buy until the vast majority of enthusiasts who want a console already have one. And then sales slow down as the console gets older. But it usually takes a bit longer to get to that point. For comparison's sake, we have evidence that neither the PlayStation 5 nor the Nintendo Switch have had this much trouble on this scale, selling systems at this stage in their respective life cycles, and certainly not as far back as less than 3 years after launch. There's maybe a reason why we have hard unit sales numbers for Switches and PS5s from Nintendo and PlayStation, but no official numbers whatsoever from Xbox on the Series X and S. None of this is surprising to anyone who's paying attention. We've been reading headlines about the struggling of the Xbox Series consoles for the last several years now. In the US, Xbox console sales hit an all-time November low in 2025, after several years in a row of declining hardware sales in what is usually the busiest retail month with Black Friday. These more recent struggles are likely tied as well to the two spikes in Xbox console prices just this year, which saw the least expensive Xbox rise to $400 and the most expensive to an unimaginable $800. Its recently released ROG Ally launched last year to a whopping $1,000. And because much of the high prices are tariff-related, the US, Xbox's biggest market, is primarily impacted here. According to Circana analyst Matt Piscatella speaking to us last December, the average price per Xbox unit in the US has risen 30% year over year in 2025. Xbox seems to be well aware that its console business is seriously suffering. While it's promised a new next-gen console to follow the series, it's also said such a console would be, quote, a very premium, very high-end curated experience. And even though there have been rumors it's considering backing off about its hardware plans recently, Xbox is still denying them, even as a former Xbox founding member says that Xbox hardware is dead. While the hardware declines were the most noteworthy figure from Microsoft's earnings report, it's not like the software was doing a whole lot better. Content and services revenue dropped 5% year over year, and overall gaming declines caused revenue in the more personal computing segment of Microsoft to drop 3% year over year. In the investor presentation, CFO Amy Hood said that the revenue drop was, quote, driven by first-party content with impact across the platform, suggesting that its first-party games, perhaps Call of Duty, didn't do as well as they expected them to. All in all, another real tough one for Microsoft's gaming department. That's your IGN Daily Update. My name is Tony Jackson, and if you want more news on your favorite games and entertainment topics, make sure to visit us at IGN.com. You can also download our free app on your phone or console, and subscribe to our weekly podcasts through the podcast service of your choice.
Spoken Layer.